A billionaire developer just walked away from a $500 million bankruptcy without losing a single penny of his own money. The banks lost everything, the contractors never got paid, and somehow he's already building his next mega mansion. This is happening right now in Los Angeles, and what I'm about to show you will completely change how you think about luxury real estate. The system is rigged, and I'm going to prove it. If you want to see more insane real estate stories like this, smash that like button and subscribe. We're exposing the truth behind luxury real estate every single week. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how these developers are gaming the system, why they keep building mansions nobody wants, and the one loophole that lets them walk away from disasters worth hundreds of millions.
The mega mansion epidemic. In 2016, a developer finished a 38,000 square foot mansion and listed it for $250 million. 5 years later, another builder completed a 78,000 square foot estate, also priced at $250 million. Then came the big one, a 105,000 square foot mega mansion with an asking price of $500 million. Building massive estates in Southern California isn't new. Developers have been doing it for over a century. But building these enormous luxury homes on speculation without a buyer lined up is a recent trend that's becoming a catastrophe. These celebrity developers set out to create the most spectacular mansion their neighborhood has ever seen. They envision magazine covers and legendary status. But a few years into construction, reality hits. Costs spiral out of control. Timelines stretch from 2 years to 5 years or longer. Suddenly, they're drowning in debt with no buyer in sight. Lawsuits pile up, banks demand payment, subcontractors file liens, and in extreme cases, everything collapses into bankruptcy.
The billion-dollar loophole. Here's where things get disturbing. I spoke with real estate attorneys to understand how these deals are structured, and it's absolutely insane. For developers, the risk equation is completely one-sided. If everything goes right, they make $10 million, $20 million, or even $50 million on a single deal. That's generational wealth. But if everything goes wrong, bankruptcy law protects them from personal liability. They don't have to pay back subcontractors. They're not personally liable when banks lose millions on their loan. The bankruptcy caps their loss at essentially zero. Think about that. It's like going to a casino where you can bet $100 million, but if you lose, you only lose $10, and if you win, you keep everything. Who wouldn't take that bet? It looks like these developers are using bankruptcy as a reset button, a get-out-of-jail-free card that erases massive obligations. Banks lose money, contractors lose money, investors lose money, but the developer often walks away unscathed. Despite all the highly publicized failures, developers in LA keep building bigger and bolder. Just last month, a brand new $125 million mansion hit the market.
The big names and bigger failures. If you follow luxury real estate, you know the names. Bruce Makowsky with his helicopter-on-the-roof mansion, Niall Niami and The One, a project that became a cautionary tale, Mohammed Hadid, who's fallen into this trap more times than anyone can count. But not all stories end in disaster. Some developers consistently win. Scott Gillen in Los Angeles has apparently never lost money on a deal. So what separates winners from losers?
The seductive math. The basic formula is deceptively simple. You find a prime lot in an exclusive neighborhood for $10 million. You spend $15 to $20 million building an architectural masterpiece. Then you list it for $75 or $100 million. That's potentially $45 to $70 million in profit if everything goes right. Can you see why people get hooked? When the potential payoff is that massive, it's incredibly tempting to keep rolling the dice. The scaling trap. Most developers start small, flipping modest houses. Make $100,000 on one flip, then another. But here's where the trap opens. They realize the work is identical whether you're flipping a $500,000 house or a $5 million house. Same meetings, same permits, same oversight. But the profit scales dramatically. Buy a house for $500,000, invest $300,000, sell for $1.2 million, you make $100,000. Buy for $5 million, invest $2 million, sell for $10 million, you make $2 million for essentially the same work. The numbers are bigger and scarier, but the process is nearly identical. This is how developers get drawn up the ladder, chasing those massive paydays. Each successful project builds confidence and fuels ambition. The developer thinks they know what they're doing. It's time to go bigger. And that's exactly when things often start going wrong.
When ego destroys everything. After a few successful projects, something dangerous happens. Developers start craving headlines. They want to be in the LA Times, the Wall Street Journal. Their ego begins clouding their judgment. In Los Angeles, there's this unspoken competition where each new mansion needs to outdo everything before it. Pools get longer, glass walls get taller, wine cellars become more elaborate. They start adding amenities nobody asked for. When you're designing to impress yourself or the media, you lose sight of the most critical person, the buyer who will write that check. Is a $10 million 40-seat movie theater really what buyers want? Does anyone need parking for 20 cars? What about those million-dollar bowling alleys? High-end finishes and impressive architecture are essential, but you can never lose sight of how people will actually live in the space. You need to build for real buyers, not for Instagram likes.
A real project breakdown. Let me show you exactly how these projects unfold. We need an A-plus location. Let's look at Bel Air, where recent listings include properties at $19 million, $55 million, and $175 million. Right in the middle, there's a lot available for $2.68 million. Let's crunch the numbers. Purchase the lot for $2.7 million. Construction costs for a 15,000 square foot mansion, $23 million. Loans and holding costs, $7 million. Total investment, $33 million. If we sell at $50 million, we net about $45 million after commissions and taxes. That's a $12 million profit for 2 years of work. You can see why people get hooked.
The nightmare scenario. But here's what actually happens. We buy for $2.7 million and immediately discover we need surveys, soil reports, environmental studies. We can't even submit to the city for a full year. City review takes another year and a half because of unexpected regulations. We've owned the lot for 2.5 years and haven't laid a single brick. Construction was supposed to take 2 years and cost $23 million. Reality? 3 years and $28 million. With all the delays and overruns, holding costs balloon. We're now $40 million deep, 5 years in, paying $400,000 per month in holding costs. Our original $50 million asking price is unrealistic, so we list at $75 million. Big launch party, media coverage, social media buzz, but actual buyers? Nowhere. Months pass, we drop the price. More months, another price cut. The lender gets nervous, calling for meetings, asking tough questions. When you're burning $500,000 monthly with a house that won't sell despite price cuts, you reach a breaking point. Do you keep fighting or let it all go? The bankruptcy strategy. Here's what people don't understand. Filing bankruptcy doesn't mean surrendering all equity. It's a strategic tool to pause foreclosure or buy time. It's not automatically a complete wipeout. The bankruptcy filing triggers an automatic stay, halting all collection efforts, foreclosures, and lawsuits. This gives the developer breathing room to restructure debt or find a buyer under less desperate circumstances. Because most deals are structured with non-recourse loans and complex corporate entities, the developer's personal assets are often protected. The project might fail, but their house, other properties, personal savings, those often remain untouched. Meanwhile, banks, investors, and contractors absorb the losses. The $125 million example. Let me show you what's happening right now. A property just listed for $125 million. 7 bedrooms, 12 bathrooms, 22,000 square feet. Check out the timeline. In 2015, developers bought this lot for $8 million. They just finished construction 10 years later and listed it for $125 million. 10 years from land acquisition to listing. That's a decade of planning, permitting, construction, and holding costs. The property is genuinely spectacular. The motor court feels like a 5-star resort. They spent $30 million just on board-formed concrete. Construction costs ran $3,500 per square foot. I can't even comprehend that number. Normal luxury construction in LA runs maybe $1,500 per square foot. But it's stunning. Despite its size, you can actually picture living there. If they get their asking price, they'll make $30 to $40 million profit, which is excellent even though it took a decade. But here's the challenge. By the time you're finished, holding costs become unbearable. At $125 million, we're talking about $500,000 to $700,000 per month. Every month without a buyer is another $500,000 disappearing. Your lender asks difficult questions. The pressure becomes impossible to manage.
What separates winners from losers? The successful developers have relentless risk control. They're obsessive about margins and stress test every scenario. They model what happens if construction takes an extra year or if their sale price needs to be 20% lower. They have strong capital bases, working with reasonable lenders who are patient with repayments. They're not working with predatory lenders who will pull the plug at the first sign of trouble. They hire world-class teams, architects and contractors who execute without destroying budgets. Cheap contractors almost always cost more through delays and mistakes. And critically, they don't just have one exit strategy. They have backup plans if the house doesn't sell immediately. Maybe they can convert it to a high-end rental. Maybe they've structured the deal to allow a smaller profit. They have options. They're not backed into a corner where bankruptcy is the only way out.
The money behind the money. Here's something crucial. Most developers raise outside capital. When buying land and funding construction, it's rarely their own money. They're bringing in outside investors and limited partners. They charge substantial fees throughout: acquisition fees, development fees, construction management fees, asset management fees. All these fees put money back in the developer's pocket throughout the process, long before the house sells. A developer might contribute only $1 million or $2 million of their own money to a $40 million project. The rest comes from investors and lenders. But through various fees charged throughout the project, the developer might collect $3 million or $4 million over the course of development. Even if the project fails and the house sells at a loss or goes to bankruptcy auction, the developer might not lose money personally. They've already been paid back through fees. Meanwhile, their investors and lenders get crushed. This is why developers keep taking these enormous risks, even after seeing others fail spectacularly. The risk-reward equation is tilted heavily in their favor.
The final perspective. Even though many projects fail, I'm glad people are willing to push boundaries and risk everything on ambitious builds. They create compelling stories and push architectural innovation. They employ hundreds of workers and occasionally create truly remarkable homes. These developers aren't stupid or reckless. They're calculated risk-takers who understand the game. The system might seem broken, but it also enables bold architecture that might never exist if personal ruin were guaranteed. We'll absolutely see more of these projects. There's always another ambitious developer ready to take on the challenge, convinced they'll succeed where others failed. The real question is whether the next generation learns from past mistakes, or whether they'll convince themselves that their situation is different, their vision is clearer, their execution will be better. Because in luxury real estate, just like every business, the 4 most dangerous words are, "This time is different." History shows us it's usually not different.
The same patterns repeat, the same mistakes get made, the same painful lessons get relearned by a new group of ambitious builders. What do you think? Are these developers visionary risk-takers or reckless gamblers gaming a broken system? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into luxury real estate, hit that subscribe button because we're creating content like this every single week.